Okay. Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Luis.
And my name is Brett.
Welcome to Useless Banter.
A podcast where two best friends won't
Shut the fuck up. A podcast where we talk about everything useless. But it's highly entertaining, I promise.
So grab a drink and definitely lower your expectations. And let's get useless.
Decided to add a little razzle dazzle to it today. You know, I just
love what you did with the plate.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I really did it all myself. Okay, girl. Hey, LOL, we leave for a 2-week trip in 48 hours and we both got Botox.
Yeah, no, your shit looks frozen, mama.
Oh, mama. She looks so new.
Yes.
No. It's really interesting.
I'm
the
over
whole,
here
like we're looking at ourselves in the camera. It's really interesting because every time I get Botox, I get paranoid about how frozen it's gonna be, or like how, because I do want to keep like expression in my face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, we're like young enough where it's more preventative and it's more just like for maintenance.
Well, for
like,
me more so.
Okay, how many times have we gone out and everybody thinks you're the older one? Okay,
Honestly, that's so
don't
real.
even come
But
for
you're
me.
also like 2 feet tall, so I think that adds to it.
I think it's also just I'm brown and you're white.
Honestly, yeah, no. White cracks, bitch,
Girl.
unfortunately.
No, honestly though, like it's just so funny because I do feel like every time I get it, I'm like, oh my God, is it like super crazy? Like, do I look crazy? Like, you know, I just always get paranoid about it. But I will say, like, I feel like ask me 10 years ago and I probably would have been like, oh, why do you need to get Botox? Like, that's so crazy. And then it's like, I don't know, for some reason, I don't know what it was necessarily that changed my perspective, but as you grow up, you kind of realize like, look, if you're being safe, careful, and like you're doing your research on it,
Yeah.
then like, you know, if it makes you happy, girl, if it makes you happy, do it.
I first got mine when I was 25.
Whoa. They
Yeah.
do say, don't they say mid-20s is like when you should start?
Yeah, every person, injector, anyone that I've talked to, if you look up research, like the younger that you do it, the more natural it looks as you age.
Right.
And that's just because it's paralyzing the muscles. Right. So like when we get Botox, it's not like we look any different. Like I'm not like, oh my God. Like filler is what actually changes your appearance. Botox is just preserving it. Right. Now, I do think that you can get a little much and then your face becomes so frozen that you can definitely, you'll be able to tell when someone's like laughing or something, like, bitch, I can't really tell that you're laughing or smiling. But yeah, I got it when I was 25 and I started with like a very small amount. Yeah. And then I just like started building and getting more as, obviously just as you age and stuff. Yeah. And I specifically have very strong facial expressions and lines. So I started seeing lines like at a younger age. I also like did years of tanning and damage to my skin. So just trying to, pull back on that. But I love how it looks. Like it doesn't change how you look, but I think that it just makes your skin look like rejuvenated.
It does, yeah.
It has a way, it makes you look more like awake, and like the more that you can preserve those muscles and like you stop from getting those creases, the less likely that they're gonna like develop for permanently. Because right now we don't have any creases at all. Like we're young enough to where we're not like have just like wrinkles without moving our face. Like if we were to continue getting Botox, like whatever, it's going to prevent us from having those permanent lines. Yeah.
And it's funny because I feel like we were even talking about this the other day. We're like, I don't know if it's just being in LA or California, to be honest, or really a metropolitan city. But I feel like, I feel like now I'm like, Botox is like the lowest of the low of things that you could get. Like it's the most common probably. And like, I don't know. I know that maybe that's just LA and California, but I know that there's a stigma with Botox outside of our little bubble here.
Yeah. No.
Which is so interesting because I feel like people that find out outside of LA that I get Botox done, they're like, wait, you do? Like, that's crazy. Like, what? Like, whoa, why? What made you get it?
I have the same experience because I have a lot of clients that are, elsewhere and a lot of clients that like live in the South and stuff where things are just a little bit more traditional there. And so, I'm like, oh, like, they've asked me or like I've told them or whatever, and they're like, Botox? Oh my God, you got Botox? And it's like, this outlandish thing where in LA, I'm like, everyone gets them here. And it's like, it's really not as big of a deal. And I don't think that you know that until you get them.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wait, this is it.
And I also think, again, it's like about doing your research with it a little bit, like digging in. Because
having someone that you trust.
Because exactly. Because I think a lot of people think like Botox equals plastic surgery. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh my God, you're getting needles in the face. Like you're doing all the, like you're getting a facelift. And it's like, no, I'm not doing all that. Okay. And granted, like I'm not saying do Botox. I'm just saying like it's interesting to see the perspective shift within myself.
Yeah.
You know, and that might be an unpopular opinion outside of LA, but I feel like in LA it's a very common, and I'm not using that as an excuse, but you know, it's just interesting to hear that when you leave LA.
I mean, I am a Botox advocate. I'm like, everyone could use a little bit. No, I'm kidding.
I'm just like, if it makes
you feel happy, yeah.
Like
more confident.
There's a way to be safe about it. I know even with plastic surgery and procedures and stuff, there's only a certain amount you can get within a time frame. I definitely am like, hey, you know what? Like take things with a grain of salt, or like take things as you need. But again, like, I don't know. I just think at the end of the day, you're the one walking around in your body and in your, I don't know, self. So if that's really going to eat at you, and there's a safe way to do it, then, you know, that's your body, your choice.
How do you feel about filler? Because filler is a completely different.
To be honest, I don't know like the risks of filler. Like I don't know what the cons are necessarily. I personally right now don't have a desire to get any. But I also don't, like if people get filler, sometimes I don't even know that people have gotten filler until they tell me. Yeah, and I'm like, whoa, you know, obviously you hear about those or you see the extremes of it. So I'm like, I do think for me personally, I just want to make it look as natural as possible. Yeah. But I know that it's easy to then be like, you're used to how you look in a certain light. Yeah. That you keep going up and up and up.
I think that there is kind of like a stigma, because a lot of times when people think of filler or plastic surgery or whatever, our brains or what the media shows us are the most extreme cases, right? Like full-blown facelifts or these like, you know, because some people that is the look that they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, you know, with like the girl that I go to, we've like, you know, I've had really in-depth conversations with her. I'm like, listen, I don't want anything that I do to look unnatural. I want to stay looking how I look, but like just enhance or preserve my beauty. Like that's it. And there is a way to do that with filler and with Botox and with all the things. Like there is like subtle aesthetic changes that you wouldn't even notice, but do make a big difference to the person looking in the mirror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that is totally acceptable and totally like, I mean, I encourage it because, you know, it's like you have to live with your image and whatever makes you feel confident or makes you vibrate at a higher frequency, absolutely do it. I have yet to get filler. Every time I go, she's like, you could use a little in your cheeks. And I'm like,
gag.
I'm like, oh, well, fuck my drag.
Oh my God.
But I'm like, what I always tell her is like, what my biggest fear is, I'm very afraid of feminizing my face because I already like, even though I have this crazy beard, I have like very feminine features underneath this beard. Like I have a small nose. I have like what is this called? The Cupid's bow on my lips. Like I have to be careful of what I do because like I have very thin eyebrows. Like if I do a little bit with filler, like I could really feminize my face. Like
I see what you're saying.
You know, so that's always been my thing there. And she's like, oh no, you won't, like whatever. So I'm not completely against it. I am a little afraid of it because I haven't done it. And because with Botox, you don't see the change right then. You know what I mean? There's no appearance difference. Right. But with filler, it's an immediate thing. Like you leave looking changed, like different in regards. I think if I didn't have this beard, I have seen like the male, the jawline that I think that like really, really, I've seen it like change men's lives. Like it really like that adds that structure, but there's no point with a beard to do something like that, you know?
You know, yeah, I am grateful in the sense that I don't feel like I look at myself right now and think like you need filler in these spots. I know that that's part of their job is to like upsell you on it or whatever, or even just help out, right? They're trying to maybe
like, yeah, no, let me help you out.
Yeah, let me help you out. Like, I don't know, but that to me is just so crazy to be like, you know, have you ever thought about getting it here? Like you could really use them. So, but I do understand that happens, right? I don't know why this is making me, I mean, I know why, but this make me think of the show The Beauty.
Yes.
The
Oh my
new
God.
Ryan
It's
Murphy
so
one.
good. It's so good.
I've only seen like the first couple of episodes.
Me too.
But it is so interesting because it is this like, no spoilers, but like also because I don't know that much about the show. But it is very much about, you know, the standard and the desire to be beautiful in society.
And how people will do anything. Yeah.
Go through this crazy procedure where they completely transform, but it makes them crazy, whatever. It's like a whole thing, right? So I don't know. It does deal with like the plastic surgery and that like side of things. So I think it's really, really interesting because I do think like in our society, obviously, like looks are just a big thing that
they're a huge
yeah,
thing,
as much as we don't want them to be. And I am very much an advocate for like, love the way that you look, and if you want to make a change, but also we have to know that like we have to also just love ourselves in the way that we are to an extent, because excuse me, because we can't keep chasing the needle, you know what I'm saying? Like there's also, I think, a scary hole that we can fall into there.
I when I was younger specifically, and I used to be just a lot more, and you know, I still struggle, but I used to be a lot more insecure about my appearance. And I used to really, really struggle with it, and just like the way that my face is set up and the different features and all the things. So like I used to like go down rabbit holes where I would just like obsessively watch plastic surgery videos. And I would be like, I like had a list in my phone of like all the things that I wanted to get done.
Oh my gosh.
Which is like, that's
so
like
crazy.
So insane. I'm like, okay,
gosh.
like, well, I just want to change my nose here a little bit. And then I could do like a little bit eyebrow lift here. And then like, and I would like watch these things and watch, I'm like, okay, like, oh, that looks good on them. I'll do that too. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But obviously it took me like a lot of healing and understanding to know that that would be me doing all those things, would be me chasing the needle and not necessarily me like showing up for myself. You know what I mean?
Can I ask like what that, and I ask this because there's probably people out there going through the same thing.
Yeah.
What was that healing like for you? Like, what did you feel like you did?
I forced myself to go out and like live and be present.
Okay.
Where I like, my coping was to like sit in front of a mirror and pick myself apart. And I got to a point where I was like, what am I doing? I'm literally wasting time where I could be out like living life, breathing air, you know, traveling, doing these things where it's like I'm forced to be present and enjoy life beyond what my appearance looks like. So like, honestly, I really just started diving into the things that I'm passionate about, like being with my friends, being with people that like supported me and like built me up. You know, it's and even still to this day, I will still have, when I'm going through it, and I told you about this, like it's something that I kind of retract to, where I'm like, I'll like go back and sit with the mirror and be like, just like pick myself apart. And then I'm like, Brett, you're in a space that you've taught yourself to go away from. So like, let's get out of here, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think like if you have that space, it kind of never goes away. It'll never fully go away. You just like learn how to cope with it a little bit better. And you learn how to like get out of your mind and be like in your body and be like in touch with reality and like touch grass and be like, I'm okay, I'm alive. Like, because that also, like, I used to be like, and even still, again, like I'm not 100% healed. I don't think you ever are, but like I'll go through things where I'm like obsessively like going through my Instagram and thinking like, okay, I wonder what people are perceiving of me. Like, oh my God, when people go on my own Instagram page, like whatever, I'm zooming in on pictures of me. Like, oh my God, is this the angle of my face that they're seeing right now? Like, it's like very obsessive, compulsive thoughts. And I do think that there's a lot of people that struggle with that just because of how we're forced to grow up with all of these comparisons to like these unrealistic figures of people and their bodies and what they look like and whatever. And so, a lot of it was just forcing myself to like go outside and be present in my day and take all of that away and just be like raw and open and vulnerable with the people around me. And I also think that talking about it helps. Yeah. I think that like a lot of people will suffer with those things in silence, and I'm just not one of those people. I always speak on it, and that has helped me a lot because it's also helped the people in my life like love me how I need to be loved through those things.
I agree in a weird way, because I know that like, you know, we can kind of joke with you of like, oh my God, Brett, don't do that. Like, don't go there. You know what I mean? Like, don't think of it like that. But also I think at this point we understand you and we know what is truly going on in those moments. But also I think it also opens the door for, at least I can speak for myself. I think it opened up the door in our friendship for me to also be open about my insecurities. And that's not to say we sit in them. No. But it's like, if I'm feeling some type of way, normally I was that person who would just keep it to myself. I would just put it down, because I'm like, I don't need to bother anybody with these insecurities. These are my insecurities, and like, they're no one else's, and like, nobody wants to hear how you think you look fat or whatever, you know, like no one, but it's like, in a way, I'm grateful that you are vocal about it, because the same thing, it has allowed me to also just be like, you know what, I'm really just not feeling hot right now. And if I'm not feeling hot right now, then you know where I'm coming from. It's not like I'm sitting here quietly, like, you know, in my own world, suffering alone, because I know that you get me. You know what I mean?
And then I'm able to show up for you. And I'm like, okay, then I need to show up for you in this friendship a little bit more, because I know that you're maybe not feeling your best. Yeah. And so many people are afraid to do that. Right. So many people are afraid to speak on their insecurities. And it's, I do think that there's a balance. I don't think it should be, because it used to be something that's all I could talk about. I see. I could never compliment myself. I could never say, wow, I feel good right now. Wow, whatever. It was always like negative, negative, negative. And now it's like reframed in a way that it's just like, hey, like right now I'm struggling. Yeah. And like, exactly. I want to be open with you about that, because that's where I am. And I don't want you to think that has anything to do with you, but this is where I'm at in the moment. And so, not that there's an expectation for you to show up for me, but this is what's happening. And like, if you can love me more in this moment, then that's helpful. And most of the time, if you're around someone that you love and you know that they're struggling internally just in that moment or whatever, then it's easier to like show up for them and maybe help them get out of their mind and into their body, you know?
I also want to say that people deal with or express that insecurity differently.
For sure.
So like, while some people might just openly say it, some
sometimes
people might
manifest in other ways.
Yeah, some people might make jokes about it, and I think and I feel like we've had this conversation, like sometimes when someone's joking about it, it can be interpreted as like, oh, they just want attention, they're just like begging for a compliment. But the truth is, some people cope with that by laughing at themselves or laughing at the situation, whatever it is. But the truth is, they really are feeling that inside. They just don't know how to express that.
I think this is something I've also really struggled with, is because I have a lot of times in the past, and still sometimes, I make a joke out of my insecurities, because I am such a people person, and I'm such a social person, that I like to make people laugh, and that builds me up, and that makes me feel good. And when I am feeling insecure, I like to make light of it, or I like to beat somebody to the joke. It's like a protective coping mechanism, where it's like, I'm going to say this about myself and let you know that I already am thinking it, so that you can't say it and use it against me.
I'm going to beat you to the punch.
Correct. And so then sometimes the reaction will be, oh, Brett is, you know, fishing for compliments. He's saying this about himself because he wants people to be like, no, you're not. Oh, you're not, whatever. You look whatever. And it's like, that can be very frustrating to me, because that's not what I'm doing. Right. And actually, your compliments aren't really gonna change what I'm going through in this moment. I'm still gonna see that. And just because your perspective of me, or your the way that you perceive me is beautiful, like you see me as beautiful, and you don't think that I have any right to feel how I feel about myself, has nothing to do with me.
And it's like,
because I have my own journey, I have my own history, and there's everything in my life has got me to this point, has gotten me to these insecurities, or to these things that I don't feel so great about. So like, just because you don't think I should have insecurities, or you're such a beautiful person, like that has nothing to do with what's going on here. And a lot of times that people bring light to their insecurities, it's not because they're asking for a compliment.
Well, and I think I'm lucky to have known your story before, kind of at the beginning of getting to know you, you know, and working with you and spending more time with you in that sense, because I think it's very easy for people to think like, I mean, you are a healthy, fit, attractive guy, right? So like, I think it's for people like that, people just always think that life is so much easier for them, which, hey, There's pretty privilege. Absolutely. Right. Like whatever. But I think a lot of people, like I would have never known your upbringing, your history, the challenges you went through mentally, like even hearing you say that now, right? Like a lot of people probably don't know that you dealt with all of that growing up, and to know the ins and outs. So when it comes to play now, I'm like, I know that that is where it's coming from. You've grown and you've developed, of course, but like, I know that you are not fishing for compliments.
Right.
You genuinely are just coping with and learning how to handle that
Everything I've been
demon
through.
inside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people don't know that. So a lot of people just immediately jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
And I only say that because you're not the only one. You know what I mean? Like there's so many people
100%.
that deal with that.
Some of the most outwardly what you would think in your life are confident people are really the most insecure, or have really been through the most, that have gotten them to a point of like really struggling with loving themselves.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I obviously know that firsthand, but like, you know, just being bullied or all these things where it's like your body stores this trauma and remembers, and it can be really hard when people have those thoughts, because if I didn't know myself, I would probably feel the same way.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I am a fitness instructor, I'm a dancer, I'm a performer, I stand up, I speak in front of people. When you meet me, you would probably assume that I'm a confident person because I take up a lot of space energy wise, and you know, just whatever. But it's like, that really has nothing to do with the way that I perceive myself internally. And so that's like my wish, is for people to remember that, you know, and just like have grace in situations like that, where it's like people, I mean, there's definitely situations where people are fishing for compliments, but that's not always the case.
Right. Yeah,
you know?
For sure. And it is, I think it's also, I think it's just taking everything with a little empathy and grace. Of course, you know, we also have to remember that we are fortunate to be in the bodies that we're in.
100%.
Like I think
100%. And that's been another huge part of my healing too, I will say, is like being able to appreciate what my body can do versus how it looks.
Yes.
You know, like my body is extraordinary. The things that I've gotten to do with dance, with cheerleading, tumbling, teaching fitness classes, like all these things, my body is so resilient, and I am able to push it so far. And I am so grateful, because all those things light me up and make me who I am. And I would be nothing without the things that I get to do with my body. So like, how can I be so angry at it for how it looks when it's literally fueling the things that I love so much?
Right.
So like, being able to bridge that gap has been also extremely healing for my body image.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I go through those moments too, right? Like, I think at the end of the day, I have to remind myself, like, younger me would be so happy to be in the body that I'm in now. And also like, there are other people who are probably looking at you being like, I wish I was them, or whatever 100%. It is. And you know, and that's not out of like being cocky or whatever. It's just a reminder that I have to be grateful for this, you know? And it goes back to like, you know, just the way that like I take care of myself. No, you're good. Sweaty armpits. Ew. No, I'm just kidding. No. I do think like,
the way that you take care of yourself.
Yeah, the way that I take care of myself really is when I'm taking care of my body, when I'm eating well, working out, active, getting rest, like all that stuff, I feel the best about myself.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that just goes to show, because I'm like, to be honest, my body probably looks 5% different in between those moments. Minimal. But like, I feel 100% better.
100%
So
better.
It's like
it's
a lot of it is mental, right?
It's huge.
Yeah. So it's just about taking care of yourself.
Okay, on a lighter note.
Yeah.
Because we dove right in.
Into
okay.
That, yeah.
So we were kind of, you know, with our girl Chatty, you know, we love our girl. We love our girl Chatty. So we were like, let's look up some like interesting unpopular opinions, and let's debrief on them.
Yeah.
So we looked them up, but we haven't even talked about them yet. We haven't.
Right. Like Botox was kind of the start of it all. Like Botox, we were having that conversation. We're like, that is an unpopular opinion outside of LA.
It is an unpopular opinion. Yeah.
That it's simple, easy, common, whatever.
Yeah. So let's get into Chatty's actual unpopular opinions. Okay. The one that I have here is not everyone deserves closure.
That is so real. Okay.
Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I know. I agree. I don't think that everyone deserves closure.
I know, that's fucking right.
I think sometimes you have to protect your peace. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I guess like been in situations where I feel like everyone wants me to get closure, right? Yeah, whatever. We're just gonna say, yeah. So everyone wants closure to happen. Everyone around you wants closure to happen. You should have the conversation with them.
Okay, you're saying like your friends want you to get closure from a situation that
from a
happened.
situation,
and everyone is saying like, okay,
like
Luis, you should get closure from this.
Talk
You
to
deserve
that person.
closure.
Yeah, or like you should talk to that person. You guys should like at least like whatever, like let the dust settle, whatever. You know, like you guys should get that closure. But then it's like the person on the other end is like, sure, we'll have a conversation, but I'm right. And it's like, so this conversation is not going to be productive. I'm probably going to leave the conversation feeling worse than I came into it.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's worth my time. I'm at peace with keeping arm's length.
Yeah.
I'm at peace with how like the dynamic that might just not be between us. And that's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. So why do I have to put myself in a situation where I'm only going to get attacked? So I don't feel like everyone deserves that closure all the time.
I also feel like silence is the best closure.
Sometimes, hey, time will heal all wounds. Honestly, sometimes
like I just think when a dynamic has been through so much damage that even a conversation doesn't feel possible or productive. What are we doing here besides just heightening our frustrations about the situation because we've gotten to a point where we're talking to a wall. So the best closure for the both of us right now is to walk away and allow silence and time be our closure.
I also think, so like thinking about this kind of like in a dating perspective, because I feel like, I'm sure a lot of us have experienced this, but like post breakup or whatever it is, sometimes you start to convince yourself that you want closure, but in reality, you're just missing what that was. Person. And that could be a friendship too, right?
Oh, have I been there, babe?
Right. And that could be a friendship too. Like you could be like, oh, I miss the friendship that we once had. But the reality is that you don't have that friendship anymore and that the dynamic changed. And same with a partner, right? And I have stopped myself in the past because I'm like, I don't deserve this conversation. Right. I don't deserve to have that conversation because all I'm doing here is going to be reeling someone back in that doesn't need to be reeled in.
I have definitely, in my anxious attachment style, claimed to need closure and have begged the other party to talk with me one last time.
Yeah.
I didn't want closure.
You wanted them to change their mind.
I wanted them to change their mind.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk them into
staying,
trying again. And that was the worst thing that could have been for either one of us. You know what I mean? Where it's like, clearly this is no longer working. The closure needs to be the time and the distance apart. Yeah. Usually the party that is anxiously attached, when they're seeking closure, they're seeking an opportunity.
Right. You know what I mean? That can be real. Yeah.
An opportunity to get in front of someone, to beg, to plead, even if, and because I've been there, it's just for that person to try for just a few more days until it gets to, and you know it's going to get to the same outcome, but like you're in so much pain and your heart is so wounded that you will literally do anything to even be in their presence because it gives you some sort of false relief.
100%.
And then you'll like, okay, let's try for a few days, and then you give it your best and you're like doing everything to people please them, and it's like they've already checked out. The closure is already there. You know what I mean? It's rough. And then I've only once ever been on the flip end of it where I feel like in a dynamic, my heart had been broken so many times by the same person in the relationship that I was in that the closure for me was like my heart hardening. Like I went through this internal shift that I never thought, because in the relationship, I was always the anxious attached one for all the years that we were together. So I was always the one, even though I was the one getting my heart broken and being wronged, I was the one begging for them to not leave me, begging for them back, begging for an opportunity to talk, apologizing when I was the one that was hurting. And I went through this internal shift where it's like I had just had enough. My heart had been broken and broken and broken and broken to a point where then it stopped feeling.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know, the other party, which was shocking to me because like one thing about the tables
is that they turn.
Is that they're going to turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing about the tables is that they're going to turn. The other party was begging for closure, but then they became the anxious attached and they weren't begging for closure. They were begging for an opportunity,
Yep.
And so sometimes I think it's way more rare that you can sit down, have an amicable, like, okay, have a good life. Let's shake on it. You know what I mean? Like there's usually one party that's a little bit more anxiously attached. Not to say that it doesn't happen.
Yeah. And not to say that there's not a way to have closure. Like I think in some cases you can have a good, healthy closure. But like you said, there are moments, there are occasions where this is where that opinion comes into play. Not everybody deserves closure because sometimes it's not closure that they want.
Yeah. And also like, if you've done me so dirty, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
if you've done me so dirty and I'm so sorry, my heart just hardened, babe. Like she had no other option.
Yeah.
Then you gotta, reflect and hopefully take a better version of you into your next relationship. No shade.
No shade.
No shade.
No shade. Babe, the shade is dork. Okay.
Yeah.
I unfortunately, maybe not unfortunately, fortunately, but sometimes unfortunately, I feel like I am very easy to compartmentalize my life.
Oh, we know, babe. We know.
Like if it's not serving either of us, if it's
not serving,
if it's not serving, then I don't want it. I mean, I am a people pleaser, which is so funny. I have been a people pleaser in the past, and that's, whatever. But oddly enough, I do feel like if you wrong me or if I get the ounce that this is getting toxic or just isn't good for any of us, I am pretty good at walking away.
Yeah, toodaloo, motherfucker.
No, kind of literally. Like you know what I mean? Which again, sometimes I'm like, okay, like, do I need to like slow down? But at the same time, it's like I am protecting my peace and I'm okay with that.
Right. Okay. I think I got time for one more.
One more? Yeah. Okay.
Let's do one more.
Let's do one more. All right. Okay. This one kind of ties into what we were just saying, but also woof. Being low maintenance is sometimes just people pleasing in disguise. Being low maintenance is sometimes just people pleasing in disguise. That is a truth if I ever heard one, because
that is earth shattering.
Like that,
because that is
read me down.
Yeah, for filth. Like I've never heard a more true statement, if I'm being honest, and that really made me self-reflect a little bit.
Yeah.
Say it one more time.
People pleasing. So sorry. Being low maintenance is people pleasing in disguise.
So let's unpack that. So
sometimes
being low maintenance
can be,
which is oftentimes in social settings, is, putting someone's comfort before your own.
It's being the chill, go with the flow.
Yeah. What do you want to get to eat? Oh, I'm down for whatever. Like, oh yeah, pay me back later.
Yeah.
I'm down to do whatever. I have no preference. I'm just here for a good time.
Yeah.
Like
I'll sleep on the couch if I need to.
Yeah, no
you know
sweat.
What I mean?
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, you don't have to. You don't have to give me a blanket. I'll be okay.
Yeah. I could sleep on the lawn. It's fine.
Yeah. No,
but it's true. I do think that like a lot of times, and I've been guilty of this, because to be honest, a lot of times I don't feel like I'm a very picky person, but at the same time, I have fallen into the trap of just wanting to be the oh my God, we love him. He just like is so down, or oh my God, we love him. He's so easy going.
Yeah. I think too, because, I have been around people, which I think there's a good balance, but I've been around people who are super demanding of their personal comfort.
Name names. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't need to.
Oh my God. No, I'm just kidding.
Telepathy. Wait.
Yeah. Telepathy. Yeah. Telepathy.
But and hey, it's no shade. But and honestly,
it's always sunny in here, by the way.
I sometimes am envious, and then sometimes am a little cringed out by it, because I do think that there's like a good balance. But I've been around people who demand their comfort, demand like a certain outcome, or like they feel like they should be able to decide what is happening next. And I know that some people are raised like that, and I do want to raise my children like that in some regard. Yeah. However, I do think that there's like a time and a place.
Or a way to communicate that.
There's always a way to communicate that can be soft, you know, because I think that you should always verbalize your comfort or your needs in order to be like happy within a situation. But there's a way to do it that doesn't make everyone in the party uncomfortable. And I think that my dad was always someone who demanded comfort. He would send food back 12 million times or whatever, and I was wildly uncomfortable. I would apologize to the waitresses, like in the restaurants, like it would send me, like it was something. So, and then my mom was the exact opposite. My mom was a people pleaser down. And so I think I took after her and, you know, was like always so like paralyzed by my dad, like making a scene about certain things, that I myself became definitely a people pleaser. And I just was like, I just want everyone to be comfortable and happy in the situation, because that made me feel more comfortable or happy. Right. And it was like, I think that this is a little bit darker, but I think that a lot of times people that are people pleasers are conditioned or just really good at suffering.
Oh my gosh. That is real.
Yeah. Like you're like, I would rather suffer. I've been doing it. I know how to do it. I will suffer to know that everyone else doesn't need to, because that'll make me feel better. If I know that someone else is suffering,
that is so interesting.
It will really affect me, because I'm more of an empath and I can feel people's feelings. And so I think that's always been my kind of thing, is like, I cannot stomach the thought of knowing that someone or in my presence is like suffering. Cause like, I'm already good at suffering. So let me just take that on and you be at peace, because it'll make me feel better. And suffering is the norm to me.
Which is so interesting. Cause it's like, why do we feel like we need to suffer? I don't know. Like, I mean, cause I feel I relate to that, you know, in those moments, it's like, okay, I would rather suffer in silence than make you guys uncomfortable, because seeing you guys happy makes me happy. And that part I like. Yeah. It's like seeing you happy makes me happy, but it's like, wow, I really do be making myself suffer just to make you
happy. Or
happy.
like, God forbid I verbalize what I want to do and other people disagree with it. Why can I not handle that thought?
Right. And it's like, it should be okay. Like, hey, the worst they say is we don't want to do that. And you're like, okay, we move on.
Yeah. And sometimes I am appreciative of when someone verbalizes what they want, so we can just make a decision. Sometimes it's refreshing.
Yeah.
But for some reason I can't, because I don't want to sway the group in a certain way.
Well, and sometimes you're not the only one who thinks that. You're just the only one who's confident or not afraid to say it.
Right.
So like sometimes someone will verbalize something that's off the beaten path, and I'm like, actually, that sounds amazing. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So like, you know, so I think that's something that I want to work on too, is just being a little more, I do feel like I'm better at it.
I feel like the both of us have been trying. I feel like I've seen us both trying, but I think that when like people pleasing is so like deeply ingrained,
it still feels like you can
progress. And it's so funny when you said that, when I read it, I was like, it's so funny, because I always tell people, oh my God, I'm so easygoing. I am. Oh, don't even worry about me. I like literally use the same verbiage. And it's like, are you easygoing, or do you just want everyone to love you so bad?
Oh my God. It's like, I just am always like, yeah, no, I'm down for whatever. That I'm down for whatever is really the one.
That's like, it's like true to some extent.
It is, because I really like, again, if we're picking a place to eat, I'm not a picky eater. So I'm always like, you know what? I will eat whatever. But it's like, then sometimes I'm like, okay, no, but what are you actually like craving? Right. You know what I mean? Like I have to ask myself, because that's just so habit at this point sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I know that can be annoying, because people want you to make a decision.
Us trying to make a decision on what to eat is the
God.
mother effing worst. Hopefully somebody on this vacation is just going to take the reins on it.
Because they will.
And I'm the worst too, because I'm actually the worst because I am like, oh, I'm down for anything. And I'm 100% the pickiest eater in the room every single time.
Which throws me every time because I'm like, we're like trying to decide a place to eat. I'm like, okay, but what do you want to eat though? Because I was like, I could
literally, in that moment am like, I will order a piece of bread because I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable or me to have to like, I would rather suffer than people make a decision based off of me because it makes me feel selfish and uncomfortable.
You are. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. I do get you though. I do understand you to an extent because I can be very much the same way.
Oh my God, speaking of, I didn't tell you, I recently went to a Mexican restaurant and now I know what I can just order every time I go to Mexican restaurants.
What?
Fajitas. But I just eat the meat. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but it's the same thing if you're eating the meat and then the tortilla, girl. Just put it together.
But it's like,
you're already eating the meat and you already eat the tortilla. Like you like tortillas.
Yeah, I don't mind.
So then why don't you just put the meat in the tortilla?
Because it's like, I don't need to. And I'm not putting any like sauce in with it. You know what I mean? Then it's like just dry.
You don't like salsa?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, this was so fun. I'm so glad we did it. And you know what we always say? One man's useful. No.
One man's useless is another man's useful.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
And on that note,
peace out,
love
you guys.
You guys.